Welcome to The Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life. Since the beginning, women have been creators of life, beauty, and legacy. Whether it's threads, painting, gardening, food, or as simply as words, we make meaning from every day. Creating isn't just a craft, it's a quiet rebellion.
Every woman carries a spark, a drive to create, to nurture, to leave beauty and legacy behind. Today, we're talking about why women create and how that spark can shape generations.
Hey there, my beauties. Here's the thing. Most of what we call creativity didn't start as art. It started as survival, as covering holes, fixing what broke, making do, making nice, making sure. No matter what that looked like for you, most of us learned to cope by creating something. Some of us learned to stay silent. Some of us learned to stitch. This one's for the women who held it all together with thread and the kitchen scissors, who were handed patterns they didn't ask for and are bravely cutting new ones. Maybe in it all, they're offering more than a skill. Maybe they're handing over the map we spent years trying to find.
Today's guest is somebody that I've grown to fall in love with, Auntie Nikki. She's a wife of 42 years, a mother of 5, a mother-in-law of 5, and Grandma Sugar to 14 grandkids with one more on the way. She's lived a life full of purpose, from ministry and music to mentoring and motherhood. She's written children's books, sewn beauty into everyday moments, and shown generations what it means to create a life rooted in love. Auntie Nikki is a woman who creates beauty with her hands and legacy with her heart. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hey.
Hello, sister.
A very special guest here today. We have Auntie Nikki.
Hello.
Hi. So today we're talking, we named it Thread by Thread. We're talking about women who craft and create and those kind of things. But before we get into it, I had my soon-to-be mother-in-law write me out kind of like what you've done in your life so far. And so I'm just going to go over a couple things so that our guests know how amazing you are. We've gotten kind of a piece of it here.
We've had about a half an hour of complete blessings.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. It's been great.
Thank you.
So your grandkids know you as Grandma Sugar. You got 14.
I want to steal it so bad.
Well, I thought Meemaw was the greatest thing ever, but Grandma Sugar is
pretty good.
That's
I may
pretty
have
good.
to. Yeah.
Let's see. Married 42 years. Holy smokes.
We're going to have to dive into that in a little bit too.
It's a whole different episode.
It is.
Seriously.
Because you just
Stay
don't hear it.
tuned.
You're the one that's been married the longest out of anybody I know.
Yeah. But I haven't even touched that.
Yeah. Let's see. Entered into ministry at the age of 20, serving as a youth pastor.
Wow.
The youth pastor's wife.
Oh, wife. Okay.
But we were together, yeah.
Raised 5 children and earned your bachelor's degree through snail mail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's see. Yourself and your husband led the San Francisco Teen Challenge recovery for men and women, and still do. Your husband still does. Not only creative and a mentor, but you also taught music to children and wrote a full curriculum and started your own school.
Yes.
You're a self-published author of a children's book series. And what else? What am I missing? I think
a lot because I just saw a bunch of things that you're not bringing up.
We couldn't possibly name it all in the introduction.
know.
Thank you for that.
Amazing. And we're so honored to have you here.
Yes.
So Your sister wrote that for me.
Oh, okay.
Just jotted some things down. And your favorite chocolate was Milk Duds.
One thing that we always say is how a person's spirit leads before them, right? And your spirit told us everything we needed to know about you the second you walked in.
Seriously, it was before you even walked in the room. It was like as soon as we saw you walking into the room, it was,
Well, thank you.
you have a presence about you for sure.
Yeah, it's gone fast. My life, you know, when I hear all those things, I'm like, wow, who is that?
Who's that chica? She sounds pretty spectacular.
Because she is.
I know, right?
So even though we talked a little bit in our initial like meeting and sitting down and you showing us all your wonderful creations, what's the first thing you remember creating yourself? Were you really young?
Yeah, I was very young. And my father was a mechanic. My mom would sew. She sewed a lot for us. I think one of my earliest memories, though, is that during the summer, you'd go down to the schoolyard, and there was a room there set up, and she would rent out balls and stuff for all of us to play in the playground during the summer break. But she also would do crafts, and I remember going, this is so cool. I just love this. And I think that's really when I started going on with art. But I do remember my father was an artist, but he was not a professional artist, but he really liked cars. So he would take different parts of cars and build his own vehicle from that. And it was just neat, you know. So I remember just really liking that at such an early age. I really don't remember not having art of some kind in my life.
You said there were crafts. Is there a craft that like stuck out to you from that time that you were like, this is what started it all?
I think it was just the availability of anything you wanted to create.
Oh, what a great answer.
Yeah, that's
Imagination.
Yeah, it was just
Endless
the encouragement
possibilities.
to do that.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
So my dad would, and I was talking about this with my daughter this weekend because she's heard my stories at different times and how my parents have passed things on. But my dad was a mechanic, and so he had a garage, and he would fix cars on the side. But he would always let us experiment with all the different tools. Like no tool was off limits unless it was going to hurt us, something was dangerous. And he would make sculptures out of nuts and bolts. I mean, you're talking a long time ago, 50 years ago that he was doing this just on his side, the side, welding these things together. And I just remember him being in there. And then my mom, she told me the story because I don't remember when it was really tight. She would go down to the thrift shop and get clothes that belonged to larger women and then make us clothes out of that because that was cheaper than buying fabric from the fabric store.
Smarty
and just the
pants.
resourcefulness. Yeah, just this is what we got to do. Let's make this work.
Generational
so
wisdom.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That made it fun too, though, kind of, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because we didn't know it was because we didn't, there wasn't the right funds.
You could make
We just
whatever you
thought,
wanted, right?
Yeah,
That's so
it was
cool.
just fun. And then, but I remember that my dad was really good about letting us mess around and figure things out with his tools.
And the common sense of it too. We talk often about how kids don't know how to use tools now and how it's an issue, but it's a big part of it is that we don't let them because we're afraid they're going to get hurt with every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how they learn.
Mm-hmm. So then as a result, when I took the ASVAB, I know this is like, ooh, way
Of
off
course
in
you took
left
the
field.
ASVAB.
Took the ASVAB. And I scored
I can't even say it.
Super high. Let me guess, you scored super high.
super high in mechanics, which was really high because I was a woman,
Yeah.
So that looks good but it was because of my dad letting us mess around with those. We were really comfortable with machines. And I say we because it was definitely me and my brothers. Terry wasn't out there as much. That's my older sister in the mess that we were in. But I do remember.
What was she like when she was a little bit? She's been a guest on here also.
Yes.
And what was she like when she was a little bit younger?
She was a junior mom.
Was she?
Definitely
she was
junior mom.
Maternal
boss.
through and through.
Always
then.
happy.
boss.
Yeah, always having a good time. And her outfits always matched and looked great.
Was she bossy?
I don't remember that
No.
part.
No, she wasn't like that.
There was 5 children in 6 years.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, busy. That's
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
And my mom
What a
she
change.
liked to read, and she said
She didn't read enough.
No, she told me a story that when we had a babysitter, I mean, no, we couldn't have babysitters because we were a little bit too rambunctious for that. But in order for her to get her reading time in, she would take the playpen, turn it upside down.
And trap you guys.
She would go inside the playpen.
No way.
So she could read
She could
and
want a
still watch
timeout.
us, make sure we're not.
This is great notes. Katie, take notes.
Brilliant.
Instead of putting Lottie in the playpen, put it over the top of you for a break.
Yeah,
Time
that's
outie.
okay. She got a break.
Time outie.
Oh, I love
That
it.
is so great.
Fort.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
We
like
gotta
a
go back.
fort.
Yeah. It's
I
like
would
go
have
back to
stuck
being a
a
kid.
blanket over me so they couldn't find me.
Instant happiness. Like just going
This
back
is
to
my place.
fort. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I might apply this at work.
So did you
Did
did
you
you
sew home
sew
without kids?
Yes, we learned how to sew.
from your mother?
Yeah, we learned how to, we being Terry and I. She didn't teach the boys that, the boys. I remember my dad would teach the boys how to work on the vehicles, but I went down there and he said I asked too many questions. Go back up and learn how to sew. And so, my mom taught us how to sew. And I remember we had to cut the fabric because a big part of the sewing with patterns is the time it takes to lay it out and put the fabric in the right correction and in the right direction. And so we did a lot of that. And then one time she was teaching me how to put a zipper in, and I kept doing it wrong 7 times. I had to rip it out and do it again. But if it doesn't work, there's no reason to have it in there. But of course, at the time I was traumatized with zippers.
You're the meanest ever. What's funny is Gina came up to us and said that she started sewing. And one of the things she said to Mo and I, and maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's an excuse. We're both like, we're too ADHD for that. We always wanted to sew, but as soon as you realize how much pressing and prepping and cutting and how much goes into it, the patience and the level like of expertise kind of that has to go with organization. It just kind of, we both went, oh,
I'm out.
well, that's so good for you.
Like, happy for you.
We love looking at your creations.
Thanks for making me cool stuff.
Keep making the
Keep
stuff.
making stuff.
But what a cool patient type person and soul that it takes to kind of be able to find joy in that. I don't know. It's very cool. I like it. It's neat to hear you
I
guys
think
talking about
because I was slightly traumatized from the 7 zipper thing that I actually veered away from sewing. And for quite some time, like when the kids were younger, I would make their Halloween costumes, but not using a pattern. And I purposely didn't want people to know that I sewed, so nobody would ask me to sew anything.
what seamstress.
So I think I stayed away from it, but definitely now I have so much joy in sewing. And one of my grandkids asked me, Grandma Sugar, if you only could do one craft on an island, which would you take?
Oh, good question. Okay, we need to get that kid on.
I was just going to say the same
to
thing.
flip the script with us.
Right?
That kid's on.
What's their name?
That is Faith.
Faith. You're our next guest
Yeah.
on Rooted Warriors.
Rooted Warriors, season 3.
Yeah, right.
So, but my thing was, I think I would take sewing because you can make anything, and it's the same with crocheting. You can make anything. You can make chairs or blankets or curtains and you can use any material to sew with. You can make, with leaves, if you're on an island where there's going to be big banana leaves or something, you can make clothes out of that. Yes. So that's where the weaving comes in too, when you're using all these different crafts. And that's what's made sewing exciting again. It's just all the different kind of things you could make.
Well, we're jumping the gun. Or I know I am right now because that's just what I do. But sewing is only a drop in the bucket for you. You were blowing our minds before we even pressed record. So I'm so excited for her to keep going and prompt you to talk about it.
Okay.
So all of your life, pretty much, besides your mom and dad, did you have aunties or anybody? Is the whole family line creative? I mean, did you learn from anybody else or did you see it anywhere else? Was it mostly in your home?
It was just in my home. Yeah.
Was there a lull in your life where you weren't creating?
Wow. I think the best way that I can gather that into a thought is that it took me a long time to receive the title as an artist.
Wow.
Because same thing, you're a musician. Well, I play music, but it took me a long time to realize that that I do create, and that's different from other people. That I don't.
It's not a hobby.
Yeah,
You're
it's
an
like
artist.
it's so much of who I am, and this is Rooted Warriors. So I would like to share a story.
Please.
Oh my gosh!
love
Please
it.
do it.
So I was up in Toronto, and some friends were praying for me, and they said, "Is there anything bothering you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." And so then she goes, "Well, let's just ask the Lord what He wants to work on today." And then when I closed my eyes, the Lord gave me a picture, it was so distinct. It was very surprising to me because I was a little bit cynical about the experience. And then the picture I got is I was standing by a cement table, and it was in a park, and my mom and dad were sitting across the table, and my mom was really crying. She wasn't fighting with my dad, but she was really hurt. So I went and got a flower, and I tried to give it to her, but she was crying so much in this scene. And I'm picturing I'm maybe 2.5 or 3. That's kind of the angle that lets me know how big I was. And she just, she kind of patted my hand, but kept talking because they were obviously in a deep conversation there. And then I walked away, and I was kind of sad. I had this little flower that I was trying to give her. And then I went around the table. My brothers were playing on the statue thing, and my sister was there. Then I walked over further, and there was a table over to the right. And there was really not a table. It was a fence, a rock fence. And I saw Jesus over there. And he was sitting there, and I'm like, "Hi, Jesus." And he just didn't say anything. He just pointed at the little flower I was trying to give to my mom. I had it held against my chest. And I'm like, "No, because this is important to me." And then he pointed very gently again. "Can you give that to me?" And then again, I said, no, I was afraid to give it to him. And so eventually I gave it. And he took the flower in his hand, and he held it to his chest. And he said, "This is mine. This is the way I created you." And what was so important about that to me was I never really legitimized art as a part of me. And then I realized that it's not just some fun thing I do with kids. It's not something because I don't have money to give something, but this is something that Jesus had created me to be creative and not to be afraid to share that with other people, and mostly with him.
Yeah.
Quite literally your purpose.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was that. And then later,
He's so good at
I know he's so good too. Later, I tell my sister about that vision is that, and she goes, "I know what park that was," because my sister's 5 years older than me. I go, "What?" She goes, and she starts describing the park.
Get out.
I'm like, "What?" And then I know it totally blew me away that could potentially be a real memory. I was just like, whoa, because we experience things and we don't understand the hurt that might be there or what's there. And it's hard for us to grasp that Jesus was in that broken moment, but he was there, and he wants to comfort us and be with us. And that's how Jesus transcends time, and he redeems all of this beautiful brokenness that we are.
And without the brokenness.
Yeah.
Right.
So
like how do you see his face as well?
Oh, that's a great story.
What a beautiful story. That is
it gives me goosebumps again. Because
it was a gift to you.
Yeah, it was definitely a gift. It was something, because now my parents were against me having art in school, aside from, like when you get in high school and you can pick electives, whatever. They like, you need to do something more practical, kind of, that you can make a living out of.
Right.
And I did have photography, and that was fun. But my dad wanted me to take auto, and then that was full. So I went into drafting, which was really a lot of fun. I was the only girl, back then, this is the 70s. And so, I was the only girl in drafting, and I have used that so much since then.
I just saw some artwork that you did that you probably utilized in drafting class.
Yeah, I didn't think about this. Entangled.
Yeah, everything pulls together, right? And so, and even in ministry with my husband, him understanding all my art, because he's he's a construction person, and he also crafts sermons every Sunday. And so there's a lot going on. Yeah, he's an artist too. But in my interpretation, it wasn't that anyone said to me, your art's no good. It's just that in my filters that I have, I didn't see the validity of my ability to do art.
Which is absolutely no different than anybody else that has a paintbrush in their hand, or, well, not that you don't ever have a paintbrush in your hand, because you really do it all. Yeah. I was trying to think of something that would be different, but you do it all. So what a great story.
Thank you. And the Lord brings that back time and, again and again. Like, this is something because I'm over there just having so much fun by myself working on something. Like, should I be doing something more productive? This is productive.
Speaking about the Lord, I'd like to, if we can, Aunt Nikki, talk about the comic book style book that you created for youth ministry. Can you tell us a little bit about that and tell our guests about it? Our tribe about that?
Oh, yeah, sure. We just noticed that there was not a good, reliable source to teach doctrine to children. And because people aren't attending church as often and as regular as they used to, so you don't have your Sunday morning, Sunday school, then church, then evening service, and Wednesday, or different. Every church is different, but when those opportunities to be able to disciple the children were starting to be minimized, and they went, it was in the 80s when people started creating their own kind of children's ministry stuff and curriculum. Then the children's ministry material became very topical, in that it just stayed on joy, or let's talk about fruit of the Spirit. Not that those aren't important, but so then we were missing there was a generation that grew up that missed doctrine. Yeah. So we just saw that. I saw that in my team, and we created a series of comic books that teach tithing and communion and water baptism. And just simple little books that the children's pastor or children's leader could just hand to the family and ask them to read it till they can read that together at home.
And the illustrations are beautiful. And you did the illustrations in some of them, if not all of them. And I personally saw it and thought, this is really cool. And, I always say that, like, I have a child's heart. Like, I'm like a little kid trapped in a almost 50-year-old's body.
You should have seen me and Mo with the animals in the books.
Yeah. So, like, when I see that, I think that is totally cool. And I'm like totally a boy mom. So I think it's even cooler for boys.
Yeah.
And I think that the world should have those. I think it's very, very cool.
Maybe you would let us link in our website to where someone could go look at them if they wanted to.
Okay. I'd have to think about that. Because right now I just kind of hand them out to people that want them. I don't think they're anywhere where somebody could actually purchase them.
Not on Amazon or anything.
They need to be. Okay. Aunt Nikki, you need to take it to another level.
Maybe
there's a lot they need to learn through it.
Maybe contact us here on Rooted Warriors, and we can kind of link you to Aunt Nikki to get them.
But maybe we
more
can
importantly,
put
the other books,
a link for her Hello Lila book series,
which are really cool too.
Yes,
so
that
next
she wrote
book series
and illustrated.
Tell us a little bit about those books, Aunt Nikki.
I have two of my grandchildren are girls. They're really close in age. And during COVID, they would come around and play on our family property. And I came up with the idea by watching them, because the older one of the two girls would say, "Hello, Lila." And I just loved that, how she said it. Her name was Shaylin. And so I came up with the idea to write a book series called Hello, Lila. And those are on Amazon, but all of their experiences are in the family property, on the family property. And so the first one talks about the cousin relationship and how important that one is. And then the next one talks about the dandelion hunt, and then our uncle's wedding, which was also on the family property. So, in real life.
And the illustrations in these books are absolutely beautiful.
Thank
and they're
you.
all done by Aunt Nikki. And I think that everybody should have it for their children. It's very cool.
And are you still creating and writing books? Will there be more in the future?
Yes. The one that I'm working on right now is a Grandpa's tree collection. Mm-hmm. And it's going to talk about all the trees that are back in the property. The thing that happens, that the problem that arises is that one of the trees falls over. And so then the girls go
Oh, I
and
saw it in one of
explore.
the illustrations. There's a picture of one of the trees has fallen in one of the books.
Okay,
I
yes.
caught that. For the kid that doesn't pay attention, I actually pay attention.
Hey, right.
You just think I'm not listening.
Yeah, so it's going to be about that because it's a big deal, and we'll talk about that. And Grandpa will come, and he'll talk about how trees grow, and
And the roots.
So cool.
yeah.
And your family property is obviously local. So all the trees are indigenous here to California. And so we will be able to hear that. That's really neat.
Yeah, you'll be able to.
We
I'm
saw
pretty
some
happy about
actual
that.
photographs of your family property, and what a beautiful piece of property. And you told us that your family planted the trees that are actually on that property. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a 3.5 acre lot, and my in-laws bought that and built the house, and there was nothing out there. But now Total City has moved all the way out there.
Right.
But it's my mother-in-law likes it to be like a park.
Yeah.
And so the little ones, from the time they can walk, they roam around the property like they're just free agents. Like
That's the
you
way it should be.
can't let them do that at the parks even. So they go out there, and she really just likes that being available to everybody, and so
Free range.
free range
Free
children,
range children.
free
They're the
range
best
toddlers.
ones. Yeah.
I love
And
that.
then we used to do the flood irrigation. So there's not a whole bunch of private properties that do it, so every other week we completely flood the property, and that's how the trees get their water.
It's awesome.
But the kids go out there and they run and get muddy, and
That's the
have a lot
next
of
title
fun.
to your book is Free Range Children. Is that what
So that my Lila has now turned 5. And so she had her birthday in March, and it was a princess party, of course. And what they
But of
wanted to
course.
do, yes, of course. So what they wanted, my daughter asked me to write a story for their birthday. Like you would have like a clown come or something like that. That was like the main event, was when my other daughter read the story, and I made a really large book. It was all about Lila and had her brothers in it and everything, and the little journey. That artwork was much simpler than the stuff in the book but I'm glad that my family knows that I like to write stories for the kids, and that I'll do that for them.
Wow.
A legacy.
She has built a legacy.
They
Yeah,
cherish you, I bet, so
amazing.
much, so much more than you probably realize.
Yeah.
Is there a time in your life where creating helped you get through something, a loss, or, just troubled times, through motherhood, anything that kind of stands out where
Well, I think the first one that comes to mind, and so is my son when he was 4. This is Nehemiah. He when he was 4, they gave him 7 days to live. So he's a Make-A-Wish child that survived.
Wow.
And so we weren't quite doing music yet with everybody, but eventually the music, I was like still growing in my piano playing, but I feel like during those tough times when it was really busy, we were planting the church, we had the school, and the Lord just gave us the music to play together. It wasn't fancy music, it wasn't chamber music or anything, but it was definitely expressing ourselves with music, brought us together tighter as a family during a very difficult time.
because all of your children play a musical instrument or sing,
Yeah.
and both.
Yeah.
Actually, they all do both probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it was kind of, because it was a difficult time around that it was something we know that we share together.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one time, all 7 of us, of course, my husband's name is Kenny Rogers. So of course he's going to sing it.
He was my favorite, my very first favorite.
So of course we're gonna do music, but I was not a classically trained musician or anything, and but yeah, we all 5 of them play, and so we would do some performances together, like all 7 of us playing together someplace. And then one Christmas season, we had 23 different repertoires, different, not ever always all 7 of us, but this one had a chamber group. This one had, it's like all these things. And then the Christmas church program and the school program. And I'm like, this is not what we got into music for. This is something we want to worship the Lord and we want to be together with. And so we ran that back in, and my husband and I, because we're like, we can't keep up with this. And so we reined it back in, but it's something we like to do when we're together still.
Is your whole family musical?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it doesn't just begin with your family, immediate family?
Well, my dad would sing a lot. I thought you were talking about my family. My dad would sing, and we were raised in the East Bay, and my husband's from here, down here in Modesto. And he said the first time he walked up to my house over there in San Leandro, he heard my dad singing loud Hank Williams song. He's like, whoa, where's this country coming from?
I'm going to marry this girl.
So my dad would sing, and then of course the other arts. I mean, I think one of the beautiful things about crafts is it teaches you that, yes, you can do it. Mm-hmm. So you may not be in a gallery,
but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's some version of something. And no one's a failure when it comes to the effort. That's so neat to think of it that way.
What instruments do you play, Aunt Nikki, if you don't mind us asking?
Piano is my primary.
Okay.
But then I do drums, and I mean, see a 60-year-old woman out there on the drums, but that's only in a pinch. And then the bass.
I bet you rock
guitar.
out.
Bass guitar?
Bass and then guitar, too.
Awesome.
Two different things, and then I sing.
What's your favorite?
Piano.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of music to play for your own pleasure?
Worship music.
Oh.
Yeah. We do a lot of folk, because all the guitars. Guitars.
And
the fiddles, because we've got two fiddles. And
do you guys have social media?
Do I? Yeah, well,
I was just curious if you guys ever record or anything, or put on TikTok or worship on TikTok or anything like that with people?
During COVID, my son, because he is a worship pastor, he's executive pastor now, but he was a worship pastor. So during COVID, he would get up and do worship for anybody who wanted to join.
So cool.
And then my daughter's also, she's in a band now, just for a hobby on the side. Wow. And then,
so it'd be a big fat yes then.
Yes.
Yeah,
right? They've got stuff online. Here in Ripon, my son, when he graduated his senior, he sang, and he's an athlete. But he sang at his baccalaureate, and it shocked everybody. Like they had no idea.
Did you sob like a baby? Did you cry?
I was like, that's
so awesome. But see, it really shows how important legacy is, and the things that we pass on to our children, how important that is. Your father, your mother, they gave you beautiful gifts that you were able to carry on to your children and now your grandchildren. And it sets as a reminder to all of us how important it is and how not to forget those things.
Yeah. I think Kenny and I went on a mission trip up to, in the Bering Sea in the bush. We're way up in Alaska. And the missionary had asked for construction and a children's crusade. So we were the right mix for that, But one of the things that really struck me and made me sad for that community, there was no art. I mean, even no graffiti on the walls or, in places. There was just, it's like that had been, I'm sure there was people doing art somewhere, but as far as a community, you couldn't see.
It was taken from them.
Yeah. You just look and, whoa, this is a whole island that you don't see art. No sculptures, no paintings. And
why?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So no reason really in particular?
Part of their culture, when missionaries went there originally, they took away their language.
I was going to say they took it from them.
They took away their dance. I mean, you could go to some of the festivals and there'll be some dance from the Native Americans that are there. But that was, to me, that really struck. Like, wow, you really need to invest in the next generation for arts.
And culture is important.
Yes, it so is.
It's super important. And I think that a lot of the times we want to wash out other people's cultures and we need to embrace their culture. That is what makes them who they are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, when you look through, when you do a study through time and history, you can see how also parallel the music and the art forms
100%.
That were at that time. And it really speaks. And even today, I know I listen to classical music. I'm not really into the current, the most current classical stuff because they try to break away from any of the rules that you need to make a good sound that makes your listener enjoy the music.
Yeah, there's reasons why they play those certain
but then
tones and
it
stuff.
speaks of what's happening in the society too.
They're doing it on purpose, right?
Yeah. So all of those things, and so when you look at art form and how people are expressing themselves, and if they are destroying, I like the graffiti. Even when I go to Oakland and I see the graffiti, I like it. I'm always looking at it. I think it's them expressing. I don't want them to damage property,
Right.
but it's a way for them to express.
Some of the murals, and I mean, they're so, at least they're passionate about what they're doing. At least it's something they believe in.
Yeah, and that's a way for people to see what they're doing. And then definitely, and like I said, with up there in Alaska, that's where I saw a civilization or a community that didn't have visual art out, where you could see it.
It's taken.
And that was sad.
That's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it affected them a lot?
I'm sure.
Yeah. I was just curious if it was like really apparent that it affected their own living and their lives.
I'm sure that's why aside from the dark and, the hours that they have the sun, but also the suicide rate and alcohol and drugs up there too. It's a big problem.
Right. All plays a part. Right.
What's your favorite thing to create?
Yeah, if we put you somewhere, we gave you all the supplies you needed, no money, no questions asked, all the time in the world. What are you doing?
I definitely would stick with sewing. I definitely would go with sewing because you can just
The quilting part of it,
Yeah,
the clothing part.
I didn't like when I like making dresses for my grandkids. They like that, and I like that. But my favorite is doing the quilts because I've been making a quilt for each one of my grandkids, and I started at the younger and now, so I only have 3 of the 3 older ones left to make. And just to know that they're going to have that with them always, it's so much fun. And then with the older ones, I want them to participate with me in picking stuff and what they like and
So what's your favorite part of it? Because I know what her favorite part of it is. It has to be the fabric, right? Like choosing the fabric. She's obsessed with texture too.
I think all people who sew are obsessed with fabric. And then we have too much of it.
Well, we're ADHD, so I feel like texture is a huge deal. So when she was like, I just
Like
went into a
the
store.
little stuffed animals that she made. I immediately
sure.
went for the one that was super soft.
fluffy.
And I was like rubbing it on my face. Yeah. It's like a 1-year-old. I'm like, oh, this one's soft.
I want to say that quilting is like storytelling. And I'll tell you how I kind of knew Nikki, and this was kind of within maybe the first year or so of Adam and I being together. And I think we went to your house and we were with Uncle Johnny.
Yeah.
And Auntie Nikki said, oh, come inside. Do you want to see a quilt I made? And I'm thinking, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is, I don't even own, I don't own a quilt. I've seen them on Amazon, right? Nobody in my family,
Really?
nobody in my family sews or does anything, right? I've made some scarves in my past,
She made me a couple scarves for
Yeah.
a few Christmases there.
But I don't come from the most creative family in that way. And she brought me inside and she pulls out this this quilt with these hearts everywhere.
Aww.
And I'm thinking in my head, what? You did not make this.
Say, you're such a liar, Aunt Nikki.
No, I'm just thinking,
And when
I'm trying to
first
put
meet
it
you-
together in my head, like out of what? Like, what did you do? But they're
Out of magic?
like these hearts it was the most beautiful thing. And she's, oh, and I did this one. and this one. And look at this one that I'm making. So there's 5 sisters. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, Terry, and then the sister-in-laws. So it's Lisa, and
Not the band.
is it 5? Wait.
Lisa.
And Susan.
And Susan. Yes, and Susan. She made each of them a quilt. And it was like Terry's was red because she loves red. But then it was all things about Terry, but it has this line and she made the sisters. Like I don't know how to explain it, and you'll have to show pictures. But she did
Like cut
each-
out the material to be the
to
pictures
make
of
the sisters. Like
So I'm picturing
incredible.
like 27 dresses, like with Katherine Hegel or whatever her name is. And have you seen 27? And she opens up her closet. It's like 27 quilts instead. It's like,
I would love that.
and this one, and this one.
But each sister was like Lisa Johnny, like. Right? Did
Yeah,
you
they
do the
have
ocean?
fish. They had- they had fish
because
in
they
that one.
live on the bay, on the
the Delta.
the Delta. Like each one was something very different, and they're just so beautiful. And I was just like, who does
Is it
this?
super hard? Because I really want to quilt and
So
I just
she
know
said-
I'm not going to. 'cause
I'll
it's
teach you.
hard.
Come over one day. And then she taught me how to make this tulip square, you know? And then from then on, I was like, oh, fire underneath me. Like, I was just like, I have to do this. I don't
Gina
know
came
why.
back. Gina came back and she tells me,
Seriously, Ra.
so I'm going to be a person that sews.
Yeah. No, she just shows up to Rooted Warriors one day. And this
That's
is
my
an
thing.
announcement that
I love
she's
it.
making.
It's a thing, guys. It's
This
a
is
thing.
my life now, and this is who I am.
I thought she
want to
was
be
cuckoo.
I identify as a seamstress.
I thought she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Identifying.
That's all it takes.
Yeah,
That's all
right?
it takes to
I am
become
now
a
an
seamstress.
artist, just so you
But,
know.
I mean, I love it. And I've made some quilts. I just made my grandson a Spider-Man quilt. But it's not my passion, probably not yet, because I don't know how to quilt like she does. She does I do squares. Spider-Man, not Spider-Man. Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, right? But she just did a basketball one for her grandson, and they're amazing.
They're like 3D, some of those quilts that they
They're
make.
just amazing.
It's pretty fun.
Oh, I want to see photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some photos because
On your
I give them to
TikTok?
the children. No,
I'm just joking. I want to link everybody to you. So I keep saying that. She's going to make her own social media so everybody can see her stuff.
no. So I made a quilt. So I've been working on making a quilt for each one of my grandkids. So the first one was Hudson, and that was a Spider-Man quilt. And then the princess ones were pretty easy. And then I made another kind of fishing one. But it's been so much fun working on each one, anticipating. This one's next. This is the next one this is how we're gonna do it. We start talking, and just the fun of them. And then when they see it,
So you include them in picking all the stuff?
the older ones. The younger one, the moms tell me kind of, this is what they
This is
like.
what they want.
Yeah, this is
So cute.
let them go with me. Like, so the one for this basketball quilt, because I wasn't sure what Carter wanted. And so we just opened up and I looked up some different basketball panels that you can just get where it's a painting on it already and you build a quilt around it. And he found one that he really liked and he told me his favorite color and we went for it. And so I'm supposed to start the machine so you have your sewing of your quilt face and then you make a quilt sandwich. And then you that means you put the face with the batting and the backing.
Okay. So the face is the part that you see, the pretty part.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the fancy part. And then you do the actual machine quilting. And that's where you put it in a machine and you're on a frame and you have a machine and it's something like a CNC machine. I don't know if you guys know those kind of machines. And then, but it's all, you motivate, you're just holding it by hand. So you can do it. You can go to a store and they will do it professionally for you.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that when they follow
arm.
Is that when
Yeah,
they
or
follow
very
like
long
this
arms.
Okay.
around
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Couldn't get the name long arm. And that's actually what I was going to try to do. But then I'm like, after I started making some quilts, I'm like, how could I ever take somebody else's quilt and machine? What if I mess up the machine quilting after they just spent hours working on this quilt?
Yeah.
But I was actually at a little thing for was teaching about pioneer kits, and the guy was teaching them stuff that they would put in their pioneer wagons. And he pulls out a quilt and he says, "Do you guys know what this is?" Of course, the kids, "I know it's a quilt." He goes, "Well, this was like scrapbooking for the pioneers." Because they would take clothes from their favorite memories, or they would take, if someone passed away, they would take their favorite shirts and they would make quilts about it. So this is their
It's a
memory.
story.
Yes. And
It's a story.
do you remember that?
Have you ever heard of the show A Call Home or a Call
The
Home?
heart calls home.
Yes, and they there's actually it's like a wealthy woman goes to an old Western town
Yes.
and she ends up joining a quilt circle. And it was super, I guess it's like it was really important for the women to join. So there's a lot of, I guess, like bonding and fellowship and
Yeah, it's very social. It's very social when you're doing that. But women still go to quilt shops.
Yeah.
And they'll just all bring their sewing machines and sit in the same room and talk
So
and
they
visit
still
together.
do the quilt circle.
This is like Gina's dream, just so we're
yeah,
clear.
right. She's going to be part of the quilt circle.
Like
next,
Gina's
so-
over here just like smiling like crazy. So
I remember when I was just doing the first time I was learning to do the long arm. Remember when I was telling you I have an appointment because you can rent a machine at the
In Houston.
Hilmar. You can rent a machine there, right? But I was kind of nervous, so I'm telling her about it. She goes, "Should I invite myself to?"
she says, "Of course you should."
She thinks out loud.
I was so
She says out
nervous.
loud.
I actually showed up a day early because
You're ready to do it.
Yeah.
So all of the things, Aunt Nikki, that you've accomplished in your life, and I mean, we listed a few of them, which seems overwhelming for the rest of us, some of the things that you've done and have achieved in your lifetime. What is the thing, Nikki, that you would like to be remembered for?
That I like my name, Grandma Sugar. That I love Jesus first.
There you go.
And that my life and everything points to him. And then that I believe in you. I believe what you can do. I believe that you can accomplish these things. So you could say, I want them to know that I'm a cheerleader.
Grandma Sugar's cheering for you.
I'm cheering for Grandma Sugar.
I want her to cheer for
You
me.
can do this. You can do it.
You got it. You got it. I just picture Grandma Sugar cheering for you the next time you're down.
Yes.
It makes everything all better.
Yeah, I know. I think even when we started the school, when we had a school of our own and training our kids and homeschooling, all the different paths that we took, I think one of the messages that kept coming up is that as parents, as teachers, coaches, mentors into the children's lives, it's not our job to tell people what their vision is.
That's right.
It's our job to equip them to follow through on what God has put in their heart already.
Yeah.
And help them to be successful that way, to lift them up, to keep going.
That way they can fight the devil, because every day it's a battle.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy's on them always.
Yeah.
I had a vision of a Hello Lila book that said, "Hello Lila," and it said, "Hello Grandma Sugar."
I love that.
And it should be
I love
all
that.
about Grandma Sugar.
And your
And
visit.
her
to
And I think
legacy.
the grandkids should do the illustrations.
Yes.
Oh, that would be nice. That's a great
Yes.
idea.
Yeah, what it's like to visit Grandma Sugar. That's a
Thank
good
you for
one.
being here.
Thank you
Is there
so
anything that
much.
we haven't asked you that you would love to say?
If you had the platform for, as long as you wanted it and you were like, I just want to say this to anybody who's listening. Do you have anything you want to say?
I know on today, because when I've been praying and about to come in today, in Exodus chapter 31 was the first time we find out that the Spirit of God came upon craftsmen. And it was God anointed them to build the tabernacle and with skills. And then in that chapter and the chapter before, it kind of talks about all of the stuff that they have to create. So I just want you to know, just if it's not an art form that you've seen before, but you want to do it, go for it. Try it. That's something that we get to join with God, who is the master craftsman.
Yes.
We get to have that time with him and just enjoy that whole experience of creating something. But of course, we create things out of stuff that's already there. But God can create things with his words, as we are all proof of that. But for everyone just to know that is something that God smiles upon and that he's happy. He's like, on his refrigerator.
Yeah.
He's got our artwork.
I agree
I
with
love
that.
that.
That's
So
great.
your family is going to miss you because I'm totally taking you home with me.
I'm like, is he dying? What's going on? I was like, what are you
Scared me for a moment there.
I was trying to be as creepy as possible.
Success.
So that's the point. Yes, I'm going to take you home with me and keep you. Just going fold you up and put you in my back
As long
pocket.
as you don't make Aunt Nikki a quilt, we're good.
That's a creepy quilt.
Well, thank you again, Aunt Nikki.
Sure. It
Thank
was
you.
my pleasure being here with all of you.
Hey, tribe. Today reminded us that creating is not about what we make. It's about what we'll pass on. Aunt Nikki's life shows us that legacy is stitching thread by thread from one generation to the next. May you honor the hands before you, spark the ones beside you, and leave something lasting for those that come. Until next time, this is Mighty Mo. Feel blessed, be blessed.
Two are better than one, because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and 10.
She is clothed with strength and dignity. She laughs without fear for the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. Proverbs 31, 25 through 26.